It was an electric atmosphere, and that had been what I'd been waiting for.
When we came to do this film, we'd made some films before called American Epic, which were on the first recordings in America in the 20s and the 1930s, like almost 100 years ago, of the first blues, country and gospel records. And we started that. A lot of those stories we were covering, there was no known film footage of those stories. And so I suggested this film to Allison as a follow-up film.
Like a challenge. We knew that we knew the story had never been told before. We knew there wasn't a lot of film footage because we'd heard that the manager, Peter Grant, never allowed them to be filmed live. Yeah. And they never did television interviews. So we knew it was going to be a challenge, but that's what we like. We like a challenge, and we like stories that are never told before. And Bernard had a personal connection to it from his childhood, which meant it felt like it was like fate.
When I was 12 years old, my mum was an antique dealer, so there was always like boxes of antiques in our house. This book turned up when I was 12, Led Zeppelin, and it was like a paperback book, and I didn't know their music or who they were, but I read the book. And I found the story very inspiring. And then I got into their music and started buying the records. As I said, a few years later, I read the book, then I listened to the music. So I came to Allison and said, this would make a great story, I think, for a movie.
So we started researching it, and we wrote a script. So we spent 7 months writing the script and then preparing the storyboard. And it was only after we'd done all that work that we decided to approach the group.
Yeah, and we'd also looked for a lot of archive. We tried to find all the archive that was out there and see if we could find some archive that hadn't been seen before. So we did all this preparation work, and then we came to see the group. They allowed us to have
complete artistic control.
Yeah, freedom to make the movie. They didn't interfere with the making of the movie at all. They just contributed materials, and they introduced us to all the people that they knew from childhood. As I said, we'd done 7 months of work preparing for this film. And as I said, most people that we knew were saying they'll never agree to this. But when they came to do the interviews, they turned up with all these amazing photographs and
photographs, records that have never been heard before for Robert Plant's Band of Joy recording. And then the real treasure was John Bonham's sister, Deborah Bonham, gave us their home film footage that his dad had shot when he was a little boy. And then through some audio tapes that Bernard tracked down, one of which was in Australia, we were able to tell his story equally with the 3 others.
I mean, there's nowhere they can really hear him talking. And so this is the first time anyone, indeed the band, have heard him talk since he died, so it was sort of remarkable. Very emotional hearing that. And I remember showing the film to Jimmy Page, and he said this sort of lovely thing. He said, in many ways, he said, this film is kind of John's story. He said, because he's right there in the moment. His interview is from literally a year or so after these events have happened. And so he's like really present in the moment. I think there was this very generous spirit in Jimmy Page that of like wanting all the musicians in Led Zeppelin to be recognized. And so this is a chance for the viewers to see all the 4 people of this group. And it's the first time all 3 of them have ever sat down and candidly told their story, all the way through from the beginning till they become the biggest band in the world. And then the amazing thing with all the work that was done is to have John there, and as I said, we searched the world trying to find recording. We just had this hope. And then we've got one, and then we got a second, then a third. And so it's 3 different recordings. And it's marvelous, really beautiful to hear him like speaking.
And then we had a screening for Robert and his family, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And he brought his kids and his grandchildren. And There really wasn't a dry. It was very emotional for them.
I was just out there, throwing it up in the air.
We just recorded what we liked.
It really dovetailed together.
We would like to invite everyone in Colombia to come and see Becoming Led Zeppelin. We made this film for you. We know that Led Zeppelin never got to tour Colombia, but some of the biggest fans of Led Zeppelin are in Colombia. So this film is for you. If you go into the biggest cinema you can find with your friends, this is like being back in 1969 and being at those concerts. The concerts that we'd have loved to have come to Colombia, well, they're here now.
You're going to be called Led Zeppelin.
And I thought, that's a terrible name. But I couldn't come up with a better one, so Led Zeppelin we were.